Although there was probably a ton of news to come out of Gamescom this week, our editing capacity was already occupied with finding clips of Afghanistan, meaning we were unfortunately unable to cover that event. The good news is that this leaves us plenty of time to talk about the ongoing Cosby culture of the gaming industry. Near the end of July, the state of California issued a lawsuit against prominent game company, Activision Blizzard, claiming it had developed a frat boy culture where female employees were subject to sexual harassment and workplace discrimination. The lawsuit specifically mentioned how the company's leadership failed to address or prevent the issues regarding these claims, with one incident cited in the lawsuit involving a female employee committing suicide after consistent sexual harassment in her workplace. For whatever reason, the company immediately decided to criticize the lawsuit, claiming that many of the details were distorted or misleading. However, like the portal scene at the end of Avengers Endgame, over 2,000 former and current employees rallied together to openly criticize the company's statement, calling it both abhorrent and insulting, stating that they no longer trusted the company's leaders to place employee safety above their own interests. Although it initially seemed like management were ready to take steps to remedy this unhealthy work culture, Activision Blizzard executive Fran Townsend sent out an internal email, seemingly doubling down on the company's previous statements, while also tweeting out an article discussing the issues of whistleblowing, as the employees at the company weren't able to program a helpful notification to tell Mrs. Townsend that everybody disliked that. They instead decided to conduct a mass walkout in protest. It's perhaps surprising that Mrs. Townsend was such an avid opponent of whistleblowers, as she had previously served as US Homeland Security Advisor under George Bush and has publicly defended the use of waterboarding, sleep deprivation, and other forms of torture used by the CIA against America's enemies. It seems that not all whistleblowers are created equally. In between these walkouts, Activision Blizzard executives began publicly apologizing for failing their former employees, and World of Warcraft developers began removing all in-game references to team members who were identified in the lawsuit. Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick, who viewers might remember as the guy who received a $200 million bonus after laying off nearly 800 employees to save money, issued a formal response, calling the company's initial statement tone deaf. The company then went on to hire services of law firm WilmerHale to review company policies and procedures, which happens to be the same company helping Amazon to keep its workers from unionizing. Activision Blizzard employees followed through with their walkout, while also issuing a list of 4 major demands from the company. These include an end to mandatory arbitration clauses in contracts, the adoption of policies to improve employee representation at all levels, the publication of relative compensation, and a task force to audit Activision Blizzard's HR department and executive staff. Since the walkout, more details of the company's misconduct have slowly come to light, with Activision Blizzard president J. Allen Brack confirming he would be leaving the company. Employees have since rejected the company's choice of law firm in this case, stating that WilmerHale's history of discouraging workers' rights and collective actions and protecting the wealthy and powerful isn't the kind of future that the company should foster. 3 senior Blizzard devs have also left the company amid the ongoing allegations, having been tied to what was revealed as the Cosby Suite report, revealing that Blizzard developers gathered in a hotel room to drink and make questionable remarks about women, all while posing with a framed picture of Bill Cosby. We couldn't even make this shit up if we tried. Since the lawsuit came to light, nearly all of the major sponsors for the Overwatch League have pulled their branding from related broadcasts and have decided to reevaluate their relationship with Activision Blizzard, which led to a rumor that the Overwatch League would be forced to take a year-long hiatus next year. It was later confirmed by Overwatch League Vice President John Spector that this was entirely inaccurate. It's currently unclear whether more information will come out of the lawsuit or how this might affect different projects at the company, but we hope this can be the turning point in the games industry, which has often been criticized for its lackluster treatment of workers, even among some of the most established companies. Quite unfortunately, Keeping with the theme of sexual misconduct, the managing director at Ubisoft Singapore was unfortunately caught up in similar unbecoming shit and has since been replaced by Daryl Long, a long-time veteran at the company who's been around since the development of Far Cry 3. Mr. Long was quick to formalize the handling of the misconduct, stating quote, "It's very important that we can talk about these things and that we acknowledge what's going on in our industry right now. Although this swift and effective response is night and day compared to Activision Blizzard, Singapore's strict workplace discrimination laws could make things very difficult for the company. Should it be found guilty, Singapore's Ministry of Manpower would be able to prohibit Ubisoft from obtaining visas for their foreign workforce for up to 2 years. As someone who's been lucky enough to talk to people from within such companies, I find this to be a difficult situation to reconcile from the perspective of a consumer. Shitty practices like covering up sexual misconduct and hiring union-busting law firms are the hallmarks of a toxic work environment. At the same time, it's good to remember that 99% of employees are simply people who spend years of their lives creating titles that they want people to appreciate and enjoy, and discounting their hard work for the sake of a few pieces of shit isn't exactly fair on their sense of creativity or the bonuses tied to their work. This isn't a dilemma I consider myself wise enough to answer. However, it's quite likely that this probably isn't the last we've heard of serious misconduct in the gaming industry. With this in mind, welcome to the most poorly timed ad placement in the history of the universe. Viewers will probably know that if there's one thing sexier than being a gamer, it's having an epic cock, and with our friends from Manscaped, you'll be able to check both of these boxes. With Manscaped's Performance Package Kit, you'll have everything you need to impress that special someone and give yourself enough confidence to get those P's, D's, and most importantly, those fat W's. The Crop Preserver will be able to keep your sack fresher than the corpses of your dead enemies. The Weed Whacker will keep those nose hairs more absent than the typical Twitch streamer Wraithmane at the start of a team fight. And the Shears 2.0 will keep those nails cleaner than the memory of that collateral no-scope you still cherish to this day. The flagship of the pack is the new Lawnmower 4.0, which is a waterproof trimmer, rumored to be as quiet as a water-cooled PC, and more delicate than your first attempt at installing your CPU. You never know when your cock might be expecting company, but with Manscaped, you'll always be ready for a surprise doctor's appointment, a date with that special someone, or just a fun get-together with the homies. As always, checking out with the code on screen will get you 2 free gifts, 20% off, and free international shipping. Manscaped, don't say Uncle Swag never did anything for your penis. Meanwhile, voice actor for the Brazilian dub of Mercy from Overwatch, Cortana from Halo, and Marge from The Simpsons was murdered in her own apartment. Razer starts accepting beta testers for its RGB face mask, and Fortnite blatantly copies Among Us in their new Imposters game mode. Members of the Titanfall community experienced one of the craziest fucking plot twists of all time this month, but to tell it properly, we'll have to start from the beginning. Since 2018, Titanfall 1 has been the victim of intermittent hacking efforts, which has made the game unplayable. These hacking efforts would eventually spread to Titanfall 2 this year, which would culminate in a publicity stunt hack of Apex Legends, in an attempt to draw attention to the unplayability of these other Respawn-created titles. In late July, a member of the community named P0358 published an article titled "How to Fix Titanfall," in which he detailed exactly how he could stop hackers from making the game unplayable for its player base. Although he was initially dubbed a hero of the Titanfall community, earlier this month, it was alleged that he and other prominent members of the community were all part of an elaborate plot to gain access to Titanfall's source code in order to revive their Titanfall Online project. To explain this in a simpler way, members of the group were previously denied access to the Titanfall source code in the past, so in an attempt to get their hands on it, they made both Titanfall games unplayable and offered to fix the problems on their behalf, because they would of course know exactly how to fix the problem they had created. Then, by using their own members planted in prominent positions in the community, they could convince news outlets and the general player base to give them popular support to fix this issue. And once the source code was in hand, finally launch their potentially profitable Titanfall online project. The whole situation is pretty much just the plot of The Incredibles. Viewers should keep in mind that not only is this complex explanation an oversimplification of events, but members of the group have also disputed many of the claims made against them, so it's probably safer to adopt an innocent until proven guilty approach to everyone involved. As it stands, Titanfall hacking lore is currently deeper than the lore for the in-game universe itself. A report by Kotaku made grand claims about the Grand Theft Auto series this month, stating that a remastered trilogy of GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas were all in the final stages of development at Rockstar Dundee. The titles are reportedly being remastered using the Unreal Engine and will be releasing on a number of different platforms, with consoles being the focus. The report supposedly suggested that the trilogy will be releasing on consoles first, with PC and mobile versions coming at a later date, which is about as authentically Rockstar as it gets. Rumors continue to surround the release of other popular Rockstar titles, such as Red Dead Redemption. However, the future of other games will most likely hinge on the success of this rumored remastered trilogy. At the same time, Google considered outright buying Epic Games to prevent them from competing with the Play Store. Cyberpunk's long-awaited first DLC isn't worth anyone's time, and the developers of Splitgate reveal plans to bring the title to both Switch and mobile in the future. Viewers who want to hear my own impressions on the game are free to watch a video I made 2 years ago. Fans of Pokemon had a reason to be excited this month, with a presentation throwing out details for the upcoming Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus titles. A new trailer for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl showcased a few new features, such as customizable outfits, revamped underground and Pokemon hideaways, super contests, and a new Union Room, with online Pokemon battles and trading. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are set to release on November 19th. On the other hand, Legends Arceus, the open world title, also got its own trailer and deep dive. Viewers may notice that Game Freak very much stole the homework of the Breath of the Wild developers, and will see players create the first ever Pokédex for the Hisui region, which eventually becomes the Sinnoh region. Showcased in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, players will be expected to work under the Security Corps, the Medical Corps, or the Survey Corps, the latter of which is expected to be in charge of hunting down titans beyond the wall. Other features include a Final Fantasy-inspired battle system, base camp customization, and a glider that the protagonist presumably stole from Link's cold dead corpse. Pokemon Legends Arceus is set to release on January 28th next year. EVE Online, the space-based MMO, has once again made headlines this month after the conflict between the dominant Imperium faction and the Papi Coalition appears to have come to its conclusion. Players may remember the pivotal battle of what's being called World War B2, where in October last year, the two sides fought in a 14-hour battle, dubbed the Massacre at M2 TAC XFE, resulting in a real-world loss of $378,000. The conflict seemingly ended in the most EVE way imaginable, with changes to the economic system, making it difficult for the superpowers to maintain their warship supply chains, and the diminishing morale of members of the Papi Coalition, resulting in a depleted will to fight. The Imperium faction, which has long been the dominant force within the world of EVE Online, has expressed no intent of letting their rivals keep any gains they may have made during the 13-month war, with Imperium leader Alex Gianturco stating, "You chose this path. You were given every opportunity to choose a different way. My people hunger for vengeance. You have failed, and you have failed ugly." Although the game's reputation as a glorified spreadsheet simulator tends to weed out more casual players, it appears that EVE's capacity to tell incredible player-driven stories hasn't diminished even slightly over its 18-year history. In terms of new releases, August saw the release of Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, Psychonauts 2, No More Heroes 3, 12 Minutes, and Humankind. September is set for another respectable month, with the release of Deathloop, Life is Strange True Colors, New World, Diablo 2 Resurrected, and WarioWare Get It Together. Viewers who want to watch news not related to gaming can click on all the fun shit below to get notified when the video releases at the end of the month.